YouTube! What's going on, everybody? I am your Colonial Champion, Shawn McCarty, right here, back in the Colonial Dungeon, perhaps where I belong. And right now, we are going to watch our second of three of our Mania matches. Now, it has occurred to me that last week, or actually yesterday, it makes it seem like last week because I hardly ever do these, but yesterday, I almost said last week again. Yesterday, I did not even give you the link to the match. And that was just irresponsible of me, baby. It was way too irresponsible. And that is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just copy. Thank you. So I can actually give you the match this time. I'm going to put it in the chat. And so now it's in the chat. And then I will also put it in after this video is done and I'm finished recording. And I will also do that for the first match we did, the Austin and McMahon and Shane match. We'll also do that too. It was kind of rushed, to be honest with you, when I was putting that together. But in any case, here we are doing our second of three Mania live streams. So this should be a fun one. This one is at the time when I think Shawn Michaels was, definitely in kind of the later stages of his career, but he was still putting in good work, as Shawn almost always did. This was probably peak Shane as far as what his gimmick was about. His wrestling had gotten much better, but he wasn't at that point where he was trying to convince other people or maybe himself that he was on par with the wrestlers. You know, that wasn't his gimmick, as it would become later. But at this time, he was still the boss's son, and that worked for him and what he needed and what his personality required. And especially because this was set up on the way to the match he'd have with Vince. And because Shawn is an expert match crafter, Shane looked really good, Shawn looked really good, and Vince looked really good. And so this led to, I mean, we're going to talk about it when we get there. And as we discussed yesterday, I have already seen all these matches just recently. So this is time number 2 for me to see if I catch anything I perhaps did not the first time around. So we will talk about this finish at the end and what it is and why it's fine and, you know, what our impressions are of this. But until we get there, we got to start at the beginning, don't we? So now that I've got, hopefully you've got that loaded up and your ads are out of the way, let's grab this guy right here. We are going to do it. Of course, we're doing it on the same laptop this time. And hopefully that will lead to fewer issues, even though we have the ads that are... folks, if I'm being honest with you, I don't know what to do about the ads. I don't know what to do about whether like taking the time and giving the timestamps. That seems to me to be the best way to do it. If you guys have another idea for what might work as far as getting these to kind of line up, maybe we'll do that, because I don't want it to be like, oh, well, subscribe to Peacock for $5 a month, because quite frankly, I don't want to give WWE the satisfaction of telling you to subscribe to them so you could listen to me. You know, that doesn't really help anybody. You know, I'd rather have this be the kind of public access that we've made it, but maybe we'll try to do matches that aren't in WWE's under WWE's umbrella, or uploaded by somebody else, so where the advertising may not be as intrusive, I guess is the word, as it has been with these matches. And it's kind of made it hard to do these, but I really appreciate the fact that y'all have stuck with me regardless on doing these live streams. And hopefully in the future, we'll be able to kind of enhance how these live streams go. Maybe we'll be able to get, you know, the video in the corner. That'd be really cool, but I kind of doubt it, because that's WWE's legal team, because they will strike you for anything, or claim it. I'm sorry. They won't strike it, but they'll claim it. And they claim a lot of stupid stuff. And this is just to being honest. They claimed, I forget what it was. It was one of our shows, and I don't remember what it was they claimed. It had to do with some odd... Oh, it was one of these live streams. I heard Michael Cole too loudly, and they claimed one of the live streams. And we had to challenge it, basically, and say, no, this is our pushback, because it's fair use, because it's under the reaction clause that YouTube has underneath it. So they're like, okay, And we filed an appeal, and they went away. And they lifted the claim, and everything was good to go. So we didn't have to cut anything out. We didn't have to do anything because there was no reason for them. All they were seeing and all you're seeing is me. So there was no real reason to do that. But as a result, so long story short, we are trying to make enhancements to these things. And rest assured, before it's all said and done, there will be enhancements. Make no mistake about it. There will be enhancements. But like all good things, they come with time. And what wasn't a slow boil was this Shawn Michaels and Shane McMahon match. But let's get to it. It is the street fight from Saturday night's main event when they very briefly brought this back and used it for, I think it was just 2006. I don't even think they made any 2007 ones. I could be wrong about that, but that was like a 1 year gimmick, which there were some good matches on Saturday night's main event during this time. As this one, I mean, this was fine, as we'll talk about here after we see it, this street fight between Michaels and Shane. And this, but there was also the 5-on-2 DX versus the Spirit Squad. I don't know why I chose that as the example, but especially because that was just DX burying all 5 members of the Spirit Squad. So remind me of other Saturday night main events matches that might be worth watching. But in any case, it's time to check this out. Check this out. So if you are ready, I am ready. Let's all be ready. We are starting at 0-0-0. We've got the matches, of course, is in the chat, so you can take a look at that. Shawn, it is for the full title, in case you cannot see it for whatever reason. It is full match dash Michaels versus McMahon dash street fight Saturday night's main event, March 18th, 2006, and the build up to Michaels and Vince at WrestleMania. So here we go at 0-0-0. Here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. When I say let's go and I point to you, click your mouse on the play button and we'll go. And as the advertisements kick up, looks like it's 16 minutes. So we're going to get at least 3, probably 3, maybe 4, but probably 3. Usually at about the 4-minute mark, at about the 8-minute mark, at about the 12-minute mark, roughly is when I get the ads. But I don't know how long the ads are going to last. So what I'm trying to do is give it at least a solid 15 seconds, if not more, if I'm getting other things, so then we can kind of like sink back in. So maybe I'll make some more time out of that. Maybe we'll do like a 30-second timer. That's not a bad idea, actually. Maybe we'll set a 30-second timer. You know what? I really like that. So when we get the ads, I'm going to set a 30-second timer. And when that timer goes off, or you know what? I'll give it 45 seconds so we can skip through. A 45-second timer, and I'll skip through. I'm going to have it paused at the time, and then we're going to reset. Okay, so we're going to try something new here. Innovation, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a timer. I need 30 seconds or 45 seconds. And so when we get the ad, we will start the clock. You can see the clock right here. I don't know whether that actually gave a visual. I don't want to put it too close because I'm looking at the match. So 45 seconds, we'll count 45 seconds down, and then we'll restart, and I'll give you the timestamp. So everyone's going to be familiar with where we are so we can restart at the same point. I know I always want it to be kind of fluid, but unfortunately, without subscribing to like a YouTube premium or whatever, and I'm just not going to do that. Again, we're trying to be public domain here. So here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Yes, Lillian Garcia looking great as always. She's probably the only female announcer who I think really, really just nailed it as far as how she was able to do it. I know that Corny didn't like female announcers, but I thought that Lillian Garcia was good at it. I think everyone they've done since has been kind of okay at best. I don't know what it is, but there's something about Lillian Garcia. She was able to handle it. Melissa Santos was also very good for Lucha Underground because Lucha Underground caught the flavor of what they needed. You know, it occurs to me, and this is another interesting one. I was mentioning this yesterday with the Austin McMahon and Shane match, that nobody got any juice in that street fight. And I'm starting to think of it now. There was no juice in this street fight either. There's no juice in this, and Shawn's bandaged. So you'd think that, maybe they would do that, but I think they didn't want to overdo it with the blading because they were going to have the match with Shawn and McMahon at WrestleMania, which was like 3 weeks away from this, something like that. And this Saturday night's main event, it's actually fun facts. What they're saying here, JR and King, what JR and King are saying here, they used for a lot of packages going forward when it comes to DX and like Shawn Michaels and how they set this up, like in the DVD sets. They do that as well. Here comes Shane McMahon, and Vince is obviously there, encouraging Shane O'Mac. Oh, hot start. I like how Vince dances to Shane's music, even though Shane's music is all about not needing Vince McMahon because that was made in the, what was that, the Invasion? Had to have been the Invasion. Oh, man. And see, and Shane doing a lot better at the selling here at this point. God, look at all that furniture. Look at all that furniture in there. Dear Lord. It's one of the things I do like appreciate in old school wrestling is that the only things under the ring are like the essentials. It doesn't look like the whole warehouse is, doesn't look like a Home Depot underneath the ring, which is apparently where Hornswoggle lives. But we're not at that part of DX yet. We're not even at the reunion yet at this match. Oh, and this spot coming up is really cool. Probably the spot of the match. This one here. And it's amazing how safely Shane actually takes it. And that's what I mean. It's like Shane's training actually is fairly good. Right. Shawn Michaels with like the craziest oversell of the post. Vince McMahon overselling the facials because that's what Vince does best. This could also be peak Vince as a performer as well, I think. I mean, as great as Austin and McMahon was, this Vince McMahon, I mean, I'm sure it was at the time when Vince was allowed to do whatever he wants, so it wasn't nearly as, I don't know. When you're under competition, it just hits different. But when it comes, I think this was still pretty peak Vince McMahon too. And see, yeah, so the bandage comes off. So like, by all accounts, there should be ample reason for Shawn to get juice here. And this in 2006 was also one of the years that Shane probably had some of the most used the most power moves, like lifting him up like that, lifting Shawn and putting him into the ring post. In the Hell in a Cell match, he actually did a superstar. Well, he tried to do a superstar Billy Graham's backbreaker. Eventually got countered into a very cool neck breaker by Triple H. But yes, and now this is the spot I'm talking about here. I think they're going to give us an ad before it happens, though. Oh, thumb to the eye from Shawn Michaels to Vince. You see that Shawn grabbed his tie as he was trying to do that, but again, that was just enough. And this is just kind of shaking off. I mean, that kick was kind of a mile away, but it didn't really matter. And we want to talk about sending the fans home to a break spot. How about that? Damn. That looks even more devastating the second time around. Here comes the advertisement, and we're going to start the timer. Here we go. 45 seconds. And we are going to be able to cap this, but we're still going to wait for the 35 seconds that we've got here. So for those of you who have got like 15-second unskippables, or for you who've got like 2 6-second unskippables, the timestamp that we're going to aim for is 5 minutes, 28 seconds. And we've got 20 seconds left on the clock here. So 5:28, I'm going to reset this. And I know what's going to be difficult is if you get the ads at different times. There's really no avoiding that. I can't change that. But in 7, 6, 5, the 5:28 is the stamp. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. All right. We are 5:32, 5:33, 5:34. All right. Yeah, no, I know. And now, yes, and now the break. So it's 5:40 when the action restarts after the commercial break in the video. Now, what you didn't see there was just Vince wanted to make sure the medical officials only tended to Shane. Now, notice that it's a little bit different here in this dynamic versus Austin's, where Austin, I mean, Shawn Michaels' record speaks without, goes without saying, and he's still, as a wrestler, is still outdoing Shane in most of these interactions. And it's really only in cheating that Shane gets any advantage, rather than just out wrestling Shawn Michaels. You're not seeing Shawn taking arm drags and drop down leapfrog, arm drag hip toss, get him again. You're not getting that. Oh yes, and now after he was going up to the top to hit the elbow and a couple lightsaber chops from Vince McMahon. See, and there's the advantage. And now Shane can take advantage because he's not a wrestler. God, that looks nasty though. That looked nasty though. Double suplex. And again, power move. Shane using the ladder, getting it all the way up, and then just slam it. I really thought that it would hurt less if he slammed it all the way down. Like he lifts it up, you see totally there, but he actually like slams it down head first, or at least he slams it down on his side, as opposed to the ladder going down like flat. It ends up being like on the corners of it, which also looks way more devastating and probably is way more devastating. And into Shawn's back. And Shawn sells pain so incredibly well. Especially in his face. Shows, oh, that's right. I forgot what Shane got hit with that knocked his cheekbone. It's just, tis but a scratch, but. And now you are not going to see this happen, but the laddering ram that they use, you will not see it because of YouTube and WWE. Told you. And Shawn Michaels' resilience, as always, because Shawn kicks out of everything. And now, this is where, to me, this match starts to lose a little bit of standing. Because I enjoyed most of this up to this point. And, oh, no, we've still got a little while. I'm sorry. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. This is still all good. Shawn's just his facials of being in pain, where he looks like he's suffering, only rivaled only by Ricky Morton. I've always thought Shawn's selling of pain was absolutely incredible. And God, the cuts to Vince McMahon, I thought they were a little too frequent in this because they cut to him all the time. And now Shane wrenching the arms. Again, this isn't complicated stuff. You know, he's not trying to match Shawn Michaels' pace and style of wrestling. And when he did do that later on in 2006, it was only an imitation, you know, be like, hey, look at me, but also to be a dick, as opposed to let me show chain for chain, I can wrestle chain for chain. The reason I'm mentioning this is that that's going to be important come the third match that we watch. And oh, that was a good match. That was a great shot. I didn't realize that shot before. The shot of Vince on the far right side of the frame, and then on the middle side, you know, right in the middle direct of the shot is still that wrench is Shane and Shawn. So you're looking directly at Shawn and Shane, but you can see Vince on the right-hand side a little bit more. That was really well framed by whoever that cameraman was. Good job. Good job. Oh, here we go. We got another set of ads. And now, oh, crap. So give me a second. We're going to restart this. We've got 45 seconds. We're going to skip, but we are at 11:13. We have 40 seconds left. I'm going to wait for 40 seconds. 11:13 is the timestamp. So maybe you have now are a little further away, or I don't know where maybe your ads have already come and gone and you're already well past. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if any of this is going to work the way that I think it's going to work. But in any case, we have 20 seconds left. If you are just getting out of an ad, the print is 11:13 is the timestamp we are going here. It's funny. It looks like we're only going to get 2 ads in this one, which is nice. 8 seconds. The timestamp is 11:13 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Now, oh God, and that is a chair shot to the head, although a gimmicked chair shot to the head. So not one that's actually good. Well, they all inflict some level of damage, but that was done probably a lot more safely than a lot of other people do it. Yeah, and they even cut out the replay. Now, of course, obligatory Shane McMahon coast to coast spot. Although I will say, the way that they do this one, I'm always like points for creativity in that case. That's always the way I've been. So they do get a lot of points for creativity when they do something new with this spot, and I think they really did. Compared to the ones that they did later on in the year, they did try to diversify when Shane did this spot, and I really do like what they did with this. Here he goes, and this was probably the best he ever made that look too. You didn't see it because they're going to take it out because they. This is Vince telling me not to talk about all this stuff. No, and that coast to coast, and again, it hits Vince in the face. So Shawn gets out of the way. The coast to coast hits Vince. Vince gets hit off the side. Brilliant spot. I love that. And now the 1-2, but Shane's not shadow boxing and trying to act like he's a MMA fighter because he never did that. Because Shane wasn't trying to act like he was an actual pure full-fledged athlete. Because that was never gimmick, never what Shane should have been. Because he would not have gotten over otherwise, and didn't when he tried. And now this is where it gets kind of boring for me. At the time, I loved it, but at this point, it's just a Shawn Michaels match. The finish, Shawn Michaels graduated that Ric Flair school of do the same finishing, the same comeback the same way in every single match. So this is really no different than a lot of Shawn Michaels matches I've seen. And that's probably why I'm not into this as much. And, At least Brett was able to diversify when and where he put things. Shawn kind of kept things in the same spot all the time. And that, I think, was part of what I lost favor with. And then the ref drag, pull out by Vince. That's not a surprise. And now Shawn's had enough of Vince's interference. And now the cheats, the dirty, filthy cheats. And now this is what, okay, I'm just going to let you watch this one. That's why I didn't really want to do this. That's why I was in the glass for a second. Because this is obviously build. Yeah. Now, it's a really interesting thing here. I wanted you to see it first. Because I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with a screw job finish before it was grossly overdone. And that's all we're going to talk about with this one. I don't have a problem with it before it was grossly overdone. It very, very quickly thereafter, especially after they made buddy buddy with Brett and did that whole thing with him. That's really, I think, what started it. And that's really, I think, the only person who should have had it referenced or maybe not referenced. And yeah, because they did it with the Rock and Mankind in '98, which was like, okay, fine, fair play. But they did it as a gimmick, not in reality, and that also wasn't as bad. But then this, there was a reason for it to lead to Vince and Shawn at WrestleMania. So I get it, and I understand why it was done. But the last part of this match was pretty formulaic, and I think that was my biggest gripe with this match is that it's just the first part of it's fun. I mean, the big table spot, and then Shane getting the advantage over Shawn, and then Shawn just starts to make the comeback. The missed coast to coast was great, but after that missed coast to coast, it got very formulaic, and it just became a Shawn Michaels WWE finish. And it's not necessarily a knock. It's just what it was. And the match that Shawn and Vince had as a result of this match, or as part of the build to that this match was a part of the build to, was quite good. I enjoyed that WrestleMania on the whole. And that matchup I thought was very fun. And Shawn and Vince did a great job with it. And that's probably why they didn't have juice in this one. And Shane, I thought Shane did the best here because he wasn't trying to be something that he wasn't, but he also got a lot of impressive athletic offense in while still protecting his gimmick. And that was the most important part of it. And I think that what we see on Thursday is going to, I think, explain why people lost favor with Shane. I think. And let me know. Leave it in the comments what you think about this match and what it's going to happen next time. And speaking of, it is time to wait until next time, which means I'm out of here. Actually, I'm going to stay right here. But I'm going to leave YouTube. And we will see you on Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching this stream. And we will see you for match 3 of 3 of Shane-O-Mania.